Hey guys, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training. Looks like it's going to be a day at Yack at the screen today. So I just got done seeing on Facebook for the new group for KNPV and basically all the different sports and personal protection dogs. And I had a guy show up and he started putting out a video that he's put out, trying to get reaction. Who knows where his head's at, but he looks like a backyard dog trainer, doesn't have a clue, and he's out there doing the bite work, and he's basically saying, in a nutshell, advocating the dog going after the weapon hand. And anybody that's been around protection dog training for any length of time and been in and around but just around the law enforcement and then soaking all this stuff in for as many years as I have, knows that that's a very bad idea. And the reason is because you're basically taking your strike zone and minimizing it. When a law enforcement officer goes out and learns to shoot on the range, what's the first thing they teach the cop to do? Center mass. He strikes center mass because that's the biggest silhouette that's available to him, and he's more likely to hit a vulnerable part in the body. You know, it only happens in the movies, going after the wing in the hand, and bing, and the gun drops, and it's so cool. That's only the movies, guys. That's not real life. And that's why they go double tap to the chest and one to the head. Right? There's a reason for that. They're out there and they're not going to get hurt. And if you're going to threaten their life with a weapon of any type and they tell you to drop it and you don't want to do it, they're going to put you down, right? You start brandishing a weapon, you're gone. They've got a lot of practice and a lot of ability to do what they do because of their practice. And that one of those things, keeping a level head in the middle of a stressful situation, right? So me being a personal protection dog trainer, the biggest thing is reality. All right, I may train my dog and try to train him the best I can to be able to take that off chance that in that time period that I'm going to have a situation that I'm going to really need my dog. 30, 40 years of doing this, my dog has bit one person in a real life situation. It was because of my overblown being young and being a kid and being stupid. And I asked for it, and a guy pulled the gun on me, and I was very lucky, because the dog did his job and took the man down. He didn't go for the weapon hand. He just did his job with training and everything. But I was so friggin' lucky. The cops came in, hauled the guy off to jail, and I almost got hauled off to jail myself. You know, a little white boy in the middle of Oakland, California. If anybody knows about Oakland, it's 99% African American, right? It's the hood. It's the, you know, you're living in a rough neighborhood. And I was stupid, and the guy came out of a bar with another dude of his with a paper bag over a beer and started bullshitting with me and said, yeah, I'd shoot the dog too if we got a chance, because they all knew me in the neighborhood, right? And I stopped and I said, go ahead and try. And he grinned at me, looked at his friend, looked at me, and went inside of his jacket and pulled the gun. Luckily, just out of instinct, just out of genetic predisposition, the dog was gone and on him. And I was so lucky, so friggin' lucky. I look back at that and I go, you know, I was a stupid idiot to even friggin' invite that. So here's my point. Bottom line, your dog is a psychological deterrent. And if you do things right, you will never have to have your dog bite anybody. You won't have to suffer that, right? Now, there are home break-ins and things like that, but there's a lot that goes into dealing with the public and teaching them how to use this dog in a very realistic way. And one of the biggest things is to make them realize you don't want your dog to bite anybody. He's there as a psychological deterrent. And if God-giving, you are lucky, you will never have to have your dog bite anybody. Okay? So you're not a cop. You're not a law enforcement officer. You don't have the power of arrest. You can't. So you think your dog's going to go out there and bite something. I don't look at it that way. I look at it that I prepare my dog for the best. I train him because that's what I'm into. And I try to make that dog as viable as possible to do their job if I ever have a situation that I have to have the dog down. And what do I want? I want the dog to take a man down, right? I was lucky enough to be with a Vietnam vet that taught me an awful lot. Was my mentor when I first got started. And that gave me a lot more tools in my tool bag than most people. And this guy is sitting here acting like he's all that, and he's, oh yeah, a weapon hand, this and that. As far as I'm concerned, I look at that and I say he's an idiot, okay? For two reasons. One, he's advocating something that's full of bullshit. And secondly, because he's saying something to the general public that some idiot down the way is going to start thinking the same kind of thing and start doing this kind of crap, right? There's a lot of trainers out there. There's a lot of them that are doing nothing but chaos, a lot of teeth, no control, and they're not looking for stability. All they're out there is doing is having fun, taking bites off the dogs, and they build them, and then they end up with a liability because their dog is going to nail somebody, and they're going to end up in court at some point in time, right? So it's very important to realize how you deploy that dog, how you put him into your environment, what you do with him is what really matters, because you will have him set up in such a way that you're maximizing psychological deterrent. That's the biggest thing your dog gives you. So when I work with a customer, that's the sort of thing I tell them. And the bottom line is, yeah, I want a dog to hit center mass. It's not just the dog. I've got a conflict speech that I give all the time if I get into a situation with somebody. You better not worry about just the dog. You better worry about me, because I'm not going to stand back and send the dog and just sit there and gloat and think the dog's not going to get hurt. I'm going to come right in behind him. I'm going to sweep your feet out with a leash. I'm going to put your ass on the ground, and I'm going to nail you from behind, and I'm going to tear you up. You better be worried about me more than you are the dog, right? And then if the situation warrants, I'm out of there. My dog is there to stop it, and just like martial arts, they don't want you getting into a fight and staying in the fight. They want you to take the man down and run. Get the hell out of there. Especially if there's a weapon involved that you could get hurt, right? So bottom line, reality comes into play, right? You can think all the thoughts you want to, but you're not a cop. You're not out there trying to take the man down and stop a theft or going in. I mean, that's a job for a law enforcement officer, that putting his life at risk when he goes out there and does that, right? And the bottom line is they've got a whole tool set. They got a bunch of other officers out there. They have helicopters. They've got beanbag guns. They've got a full myriad of things that are less lethal, because that's what they consider a dog. He's less lethal. His job is to alert on the suspect, to go find him, to alert, let the officer knows where he's at, and then do his job accordingly. But not to put the dog at risk and not to put the officer at risk. And if there's any chance that that's going to be the case, they're not going to deploy the animal, right? Because the risk of the animal getting hurt, right? So you have to put everything in perspective. So when you see an idiot like this sitting there claiming, yeah, weapon hand, this kind of crap, and then being in the backyard just playing with his dogs, he doesn't have a friggin' clue. And he's an idiot for even putting a video like that out. And yeah, I said it. You're a friggin' idiot, right? Bottom line, realize that as a professional, your job is to educate, to teach, to do the best you can for your customer, and not put them at risk by some stupid shit like that you're trying to claim, yeah, weapon arm. Because there's going to be an idiot down the way that's going to listen to you and start doing something like that and then put his life at risk because he thinks his dog's going to nail the weapon. What an idiot. All right, I'm done. So my yak session for that one is done, and I'm going to post it on that same thread, and I'll put it up on YouTube, and I'll put the link on that thread so he can see it. But realize, you're lucky that, people want to get angry, and I'm the same way. I want to come at you and call you a fucking idiot and come at you strong. But I think that there's a lot more intelligence going on. We're letting it happen because why are we going to say that? The general public, anybody that knows their stuff, is going to look at that and say, yeah, that guy's an idiot, right? You don't need to disparage him. You don't need to come at him with anger and animosity or any of that, because it's telling on him on his own. Anybody that advocates something like that, reality and truth, is an idiot, right? Just bottom line. All right, I'm done. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, signing off.